Hey, it's the podcast guy.
Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast.
And there it is! Sutton United at the GM Vauxhall Conference have put out First Division Coventry City, winners of the FA Cup themselves less than 2 years ago. And what a moment to enjoy for the fans of this Surrey side. They've had their moments before, but never one like this. But the whistle goes down. Delight for Sutton United. Sutton United from the National League are through to the last 16 of the FA Cup. No longer English football's perennial non-league club. A 123-year crescendo reaches a new peak for Sutton United, who are promoted to the Football League for the first time.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Sutton United Talk Time on podcast. It's the Sutton Podcast and it's an association with Lucky Star again. Association even. I will try that again. I'm your host Mike, and with me on our panel today we have got Chris and Neil. We are covering the very dull, boring 2-0 win. He scored another goal, but come on, no conceding goals. What have we got to moan about? And the win against Fylde, and we're going to look forward to Ebbsfleet in the trophy, although I haven't got an Ebbsfleet plan on because we're not doing a big program for that one, so I didn't arrange it. Engagement, love hearing from everyone, love those thumbs up, always gives me that little hit of dopamine, so thank you very much to everyone doing that, and the shares and likes and all the comments. I really do love it. Anyone who hasn't got involved yet, at Sutton Podcast and any of the socials, and you make an old man very happy. We're going to dive right in. Neil, how have you been?
I've been fine, thank you, Mike. This afternoon I have been burning an old shed.
Nice. Not on your lovely lawn.
No, on the allotment, or the allotment adjoining mine. So
does the owner of that one know? Did you just...
Oh yes, yeah. It's somebody's given it up, and it was falling down, and it's got a rat's nest under it. So it was basically it was environmental and necessary.
Fair enough. I just thought you burnt your shed on someone's vegetable patch. Chris,
hello.
The jinx.
Yes.
It's been broken.
Oh yes, I have finally seen us win this season. It's a strange feeling.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like last season where it didn't happen very often. We are winning games, you just haven't seen them.
Yeah, well, I mean, I saw us win the first match of last season.
Yeah.
So it's just I have often seen us put in a shabby performance and get no reward for it, or get a point. But so it was just a relief, because I was all starting to think, do I just cut back on my stewarding because work has already been forcing me to not do as much, and also I was thinking, if we get to the playoffs, do I just not go to Wembley?
Well, in fairness, you can't be blamed for Wembley.
No.
We've never won at Wembley, and
no,
if
I know.
Blame anyone. We all know who we're going to blame, don't we, Jenny Corkett? Anyway,
yes.
But how have you been?
Yes, yeah, good. But this was only only the second Sutton match I saw in November. So the first one being the Birmingham City game. But
It's been a good November.
It's been a relatively good November. Yeah, 9 points.
Excellent.
Which is good. Playoff spot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Right, we'll stick with you for the Knowing Me, Knowing You segment.
Knowing me, knowing you. There is nothing we can do. Knowing me, knowing you.
The question I asked is, what is your favourite Sutton United kit from any season, and why? Why?
So, without any shadow of a doubt, it is the black kit that was our third kit. And I think because, selfishly, it's got my name on the back of it in small print, but also as well, it's got the names of all of the fans that were kind of making financial contributions to keep the club going during COVID. And I just thought it was such a lovely touch. And I know that the club does sometimes get criticism, sometimes quite rightly, about certain things that it does, about consultation, etc. But I thought that was really nice. And also as well, I think it's a really fine looking shirt as well. It just it does look kind of terrific, and so I'm yeah, I do often kind of like wear that around. It's also the only football shirt my mum has ever owned. So
We'll get a Jack Sims shirt. Anyway,
no, it was not a Jackson shirt. No, I haven't seen it. Yeah, my mum provided feedback to me about what she thought of Jack Sims' performance in the Birmingham City game. She was not kind. Also, I think she was somewhat misguided, and I have yet to get to the bottom. But also, my mum doesn't have a renowned football coach career or anything, so I think it was. I don't know whether somebody said something on ITV, but anyway, that's enough about me.
Well,
yeah.
a couple of things on the black kit. One,
Yes.
I'm gonna say, because I think she might be within earshot. My oldest ruined it for me because I sort of got it in the post, settled down to sit and find my name on the back of it. I was like, here we go, and she went, it's right there.
Oh,
come on, man! I was going to look for that. But I think some people on there more than once, because I think season ticket and the people who pledged as well. So I think there's a chance to see your name more than once.
Yeah, I'm on there twice, and also my wife's firm is on there.
Excellent. I think the yellow could have been a bit more ambery, and the black could have been chocolate. But
Yeah.
and I also think it's I believe, this might be horribly wrong, I believe that's Gareth Miller came up with the idea for that.
Yeah.
And everyone kind of went, yes, that's a really
Yes.
good idea. So yeah, I'm with you. I like that kit as well.
Yeah.
Neil, what's your favourite kit from any season and why?
Well, I sort of had three, but because I'm so old, and you know how memory plays a funny thing, I was convinced that when I first started watching Sutton, they played in the old amber and chocolate quarters. But I looked back and found that it wasn't. In fact, the amber and chocolate quarters was a lot more recent than I thought it was. It was like sort of the late 1990s into 2008. And I was convinced in my mind that's what was worn back in the 60s. And it wasn't.
No, it did go back further than the 60s.
Yeah.
I don't think you go back that far.
No. So that's that. So I liked the chocolate and amber quarters because I just thought it was a nice aesthetic. Plus, there was a chocolate short. You know, I don't think there's enough chocolate these days. That's that. But the other ones I've liked, I did like the Italia Cup when we played in the Italian Cup, the Anglo-Italian Cup final, because we played in the England kit. Because that was, but you know, that was a unique one-off as we were representing England. And of the current ones, I actually like our second strip. I like that white with the vertical strips. As an aesthetic, I think that looks really nice. So apologies for having three, but I couldn't decide between them.
I was sitting there going, oh, it's great. I'm asking this question because I'm not answering it.
Yeah. What would your answer be?
Let me know your answer, guys. Share your thoughts and which is your favourite kit and why. We know from last week what Claire's answer will be because she designed one of them, but let me know and why. A couple of bits of news. What do you think of the Matt Rush going out on loan? Neil, start with you. Some comments have been, oh, it's not very fair. He wasn't given a chance. But then the flip side is, let's look at Jack, who went out on loan and has come back firing on all cylinders. So, Neil, what do you think on that situation?
I was surprised because I thought he would be a certain starter for all of the National League Cup or National League Trophy or whatever that tournament's called. Because I think we need to give Will and Ashley a bit of a rest. So I thought he would play in all of those. So shows you what I know. And I think he's a different, he's a bit like, he's tiny, he's fast, he's a bit irritating. And I'm again, old school. I like the large centre forward with the short forward playing alongside them because I think it causes a different set of problems for defences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a kind of a Kevin Phillips approach.
Yeah.
Very good. Nice link back. Chris, what do you think?
Yeah, it always feels like a bit of a humiliation, someone being lent back to a club that they've previously played for. It feels to me a bit like it's a precursor to letting him go. I don't. I mean, because I haven't seen us win until today. I mean, I've not really thought an enormous amount about our strikers. You know,
Yeah.
yeah. The main threat I've seen coming forward has been from Josh.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah.
I-
Of the games I've seen.
I'm a bit sort of surprised as well because I don't think we've got a huge amount of cover.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not going to tend to double guess the management team.
Yeah.
But for the National League trophy games or whatever it's called, I'm wondering, will we get Vinny registered for those and playing? Because I know he's out on loan, but he may well be able to be playing in those. I don't know for certain. But other people are saying there must be someone coming in. Matt did offer us a different thing, and I like that, where defenses have to deal with something different with sort of 15, 20 minutes to go.
Yeah.
But like I say, with Jack, he went off, did his month, came
Yeah.
back full of confidence, and that was the
Yeah.
club that he was at last year. So it
Yeah.
might be that familiar surroundings might benefit him.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Right, the next bit of big news.
Mhm.
On Thursday, the club announced we're going cashless.
So I am in
Chris.
favour of being cashless.
Mhm.
I can see how it probably should have given more notice. Though I mean, I struggle to remember the last time I paid for something in cash,
Mhm.
apart from renting a trolley from a supermarket, and even then I get my money back. But yeah, but I also appreciate that there are still people who kind of like, who use cash, and there's the argument about kids. Like, if the kids don't have a bank card, at least you can give them like, a fiver or something. I mean, you can, you can send a kind of like, a 12-year-old off to kind of like go and get chips for however much it is, and they haven't wandered off with your bank card.
The food outlets were taking money. It was
Oh,
over
were
the
they?
bar,
Oh,
so
okay.
the 12-year-olds not being able to take cashless over the bar. That's probably a good idea.
Yes, yes, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I haven't used cash for ages. I've got a £20 note in the back of my phone that has been there for about 4 years.
Yeah.
Because I went somewhere ages ago and they didn't accept card, and it just
Yeah.
threw me. So I've just
Yeah.
kept that in there. But it's gathering dust. It might have disintegrated. I don't know. But it was the speed for me. It was.
Yes.
I think personally. Sorry, Neil. I know you're going to say this. Actually, you go first before I take what you're probably going to say. Neil, what did you think about the cashless and the announcement?
I can see why they're doing it from ease of the problems and handling cash, and paying cash into the bank is it's virtually impossible to do these days. But like a lot of things the club have done, they've seemed to have done it on a Tuesday, decided on a Tuesday, told people on a Friday, and then people have just got to live with it. So I don't think they win any friends and favours by doing it. You need a bit of a lead-in time with a little bit of an explanation why.
Yeah,
And then I think it would be accepted.
Yeah, I
better.
think if they'd gone in and said, 1st of January, we're doing this, and then anyone who pays in cash over the next month, you can say, right, you do know that we're not going to do this.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that people have said is some people like cash because they can take out their 20 quid.
Yeah.
And once that's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And as JR said, the reason I prefer cash is if I start tapping on my card, and after I've had a few drinks, I'm starting to buy drinks for everyone, and you suddenly don't realise how much you're spending.
Yeah.
So yeah, there is that, but you can also get accounts, and I've got like 3 or 4 different bank accounts, and I use one where I put money across as my spend money, and I can just keep tapping away until that's gone, and I'll move more across. But not everyone will have that. There are preloaded credit cards. I may look into designing some of them and start selling a preloaded card with Sutton Podcast, my little face on it, going, "Don't spend your money." But we'll see how that goes. It's unlikely, let's be honest.
Yeah.
For me, I didn't do the podcast calendar this year because I've had it in my diary from mid-October, And I just kept carrying it forward, going, I've got ages yet, got ages yet, got ages yet. And then suddenly this morning I was like, oh yeah, I haven't finished that at all. So I'm not bothering this year. So the club's done one, which is good. Okay, the match. Let's talk about that because I've wasted everyone's time for a little bit. Neil, what was your thoughts and expectations ahead of time?
I was confident, but I thought it might turn out to be a banana skin because we've got carried away before. And let's face it, this is Sutton. So we all, we bucked the trend. So
I fully agree. Someone did say, these guys are way down the league. Why is everyone worried? Because we've been here before.
Yes,
it's why.
yes.
Chris, what were your sort of expectations and hopes for the game?
My expectations and my hopes were different things. I think my expectation was that I would see yet another draw or a defeat. My hope would be that we would be able to beat a team that are in the relegation spots. However, I remember thinking that when I went to the Boston game, so I also as well in the last time we played Fylde in the FA Cup, I'd befriended one of their backroom staff who had been at Parkrun that morning at Non-Touch, and had a lovely chat with them. And I was looking forward to seeing them again. And I saw this face walking up. I thought, is that the guy? He had a bit of a haircut or something. And I was just looking at them, and the guy gave me a bit of a nod. And I thought, oh, okay, but he didn't say, oh, hiya. And then I went. Somebody looked at me and went, yeah, that's Kevin Phillips. Oh, so I am glad I didn't have a conversation with Kevin Phillips asking him whether he did Parkrun that morning.
It would have been an opener, I suppose.
It could have been a bit of an
Didn't even think of it, mate.
But yeah.
Well, I was distracted the first half because I had a visitor with me who has been moaning to come to football for ages and ages and ages, and I kept saying no. And then within 15 minutes of kickoff, Daddy, I'm bored. Can we ask Mummy to collect me? So,
well, to be fair, that first half was not a thriller.
Well, this is what I was going to say. I didn't see much of the first half because I was entertaining. So you just mentioned it there. What was your view on the first half, Chris?
Well, we just seemed to be unable to keep possession, and but also as well, neither team seemed to be really at the races. There were a few kind of attempts. I mean, Jack had to make a couple of really good saves, but yeah, it felt like it was going to be one of those games, and yeah, we just could not keep hold of the ball. I mean, to an extent that, I mean, it's fantastic we won, but I'm still a little bit nervous because I think we ought to have been a bit more dominant in a game against a team that's so low down.
Neil, what was your thoughts on the first half? I mean, Steve said himself that he didn't like it, and he kind of go into the players saying, "What do you want from us? Do you need more information? Do you want more instructions? What do you want?" And actually, someone had spoken to one of the players. I can't remember if they told me afterwards or at halftime, and they had said that, I don't know what's wrong with us. Or it might have been after the warm-up, actually. I don't know what's wrong with us. Everyone just seems really flat. But I don't know. But Neil, what do you think of the first half?
Agree with what Chris sort of felt, that it wasn't a very good game of football. But I've watched the whole thing back again. And in fact, the first half was a lot better than I remember it being.
Oh, okay.
There was, there were some good chances. Both the keepers kept them in it. Yeah. There was the Connor and Paddy on the commentary were convinced that it should have been a penalty, which they spent the entire match saying we got away with them. Those guys really are trying to be so neutral. They're absolute past masters at it. They're almost so that they're almost coming across as being sort of going against Sutton to try and appear impartial. So that's worth a discussion, that the supposed penalty, because the referee, I think, got it wrong in two respects, but not the way that Paddy and Connor reckoned.
Yeah.
You mentioned it. Bring it up.
Well, so the ball goes over the top and Tyler faffs around with it. passes the ball back to Jack, and the other guy, and then pulls the other guy back, who goes down like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah.
And they said it should have been a pen, but the point was the ball had got that the forward had no chance of getting the ball because it had gone back to Jack, who caught it. It was in fact a pass back to the goalkeeper, so it should have been a booking, yes, which was correct, but it should have been an indirect free kick just inside the box.
Did he pass it or was it a challenge?
He passed it back.
Okay.
He
It was a
passed it
pass.
back, and the challenge came sort of afterwards when
Right.
the guy was running past, but he was never going to get to the ball. Jack called. So, in fact, an indirect free kick in the box is not quite as dangerous from there as the direct free kick where he gave it, which because Jack produced a very good good save.
Excellent.
But,
So one of the fans videoed that. That's it's on my Twitter feed.
yeah. So,
My understanding is that the ref chose not to give a red card because Jack caught it.
right.
A red.
Yeah,
dive?
so no, he would have given a yellow,
Yeah.
which he did, but it was a yellow and no more because Jack got the ball.
I.e., he's agreeing that the forward really didn't have a chance of getting to the ball.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But it should have been an indirect free kick so, because it was a pass back.
Yeah. But
We got away with it. It's
yeah,
not-
we got away with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would also just say there were quite a few cards that the ref dished out in that first half. He didn't lose his cards in the second half. They also made an appearance.
You could tell Christmas was coming up, didn't you? It's like,
Yeah,
you get
yeah.
a card, you get a card, you get a card.
Yeah.
Someone was saying we get fined if it's over 5 cards, and I think we got 6 in the end.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
But
I mean, though I'd heard that from people who had heard that rather than
Right.
I had heard it from
right.
anybody, anyone being country. But I did notice that someone who introduced himself as the referee's coach wanted to have a chat at half time.
With who? Nice.
I don't know. It disappeared in the direction of the referee's area. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Keep your cards in your pocket.
Yes, yeah, but yeah, because like sometimes you get people who say that they're from the FA or whatnot, but never like, oh, the referee's coach. So,
Yeah.
oh, okay, right. Are you his mental coach, or are you what assistance do you provide the referee?
Well, no.
So the referee and the linesman on the TARDIS side
Yes,
apparently are both EFL. So these two as a pair vacillate between the two leagues.
right.
So as far as I'm concerned, you can go back to the EFL.
Yeah. Well, he'd also apparently
He didn't give them that indirect free kick, so I quite like him.
the last time that he'd refed here had been when we had a plastic pitch, in his words. So yeah.
He also, in the second half, did some pretty good playing advantage as well.
He did.
Um,
To be fair to him, he did.
Yeah.
He did. But I mean, I was just convinced that someone was going to get sent off for something silly.
Absolutely.
Because yeah,
But the most bonkers was Josh gets taken out by 2 defenders, and then he books Josh for simulating a dive. There was no way he was taken out.
yeah.
Josh was very funny at the end, actually, because he came over and I happened to be standing near where his dad was, and he sort of came over and he's like, right, I better go in now, get told off, but I'll be back out in a minute. So, get told off. Right, I'm going to take some responsibility for that first half because I did say on Tuesday, Wednesday, whenever I spoke, that we haven't scored in the new home end since Ebbsfleet. So obviously the players took that on board and they thought we're going to save it for the second half performance. That's exactly what definitely most probably happened.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
But the second half was very, very different. I mean, lots happened, but we'll go with the goal for Nadders. I've seen it back and I'm a bit gutted, first of all, of the camera angle because it shows the empty curver. And you can just imagine everyone going, "Oh, there's no fans there." And
Yeah.
damn it! But his eyes just lit up as that ball sat up for him. What was your view of it, Neil? I don't remember where you stand in the second half, but what was your view of Nada's goal?
I was on the TARDIS.
Right.
It was a beautiful shot, but it could have quite easily, the way things were going, gone out of the ground, but it didn't.
No, that was going in. As soon as that ball sat up, and I was like, if the keeper gets to it, the keeper's going into that goal as well, because just hit that.
But that's what he should have done with the Birmingham shot.
Don't talk to him about the Birmingham shot. Yes.
Yeah.
I said to him, we'll come to the cross in a second. I said, I suppose I'm going to have to be nice to you this week after I gave you a bit of grief about that 91st minute cross. And he was like, yes, I heard about that. But yeah, absolutely. The ball kind of went out. I think it was Jack that won it in midfield with a lovely header forward, and it just sat up beautifully. It's one of those things that doesn't always happen for us. Sometimes when that ball bounces, it spins the wrong way, or it just holds up. So it doesn't always happen for us. So when it is glorious to see it.
Yeah.
There was speculation it was less beautiful strike and he shinned it. But that came from Hayden Muller, so I'm not sure how true that is. But yeah, it was a beautiful goal to make us 1-0 up. And then, as Steve mentioned, Chris, I didn't ask you about your goal. What was your view of the goal?
My view of the goal was kind of like uninterrupted. I was able to actually see it. I was kind of like just delighted that we'd finally broken the deadlock. It had felt like it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
And I was giddy with excitement, and I was then trying to remember the last time I'd seen us score a goal.
And you mentioned to me that the other tunnel staff had a conversation with you.
Yes,
Yes,
they did, because they knew that I was a bit of a curse. And sometimes we have found that we can sometimes get goals a bit more easily if one of us had gone away to like the loo or something. I was then sent down to the end of the tunnel, so I couldn't see the game, and so therefore the game would know that the curse was no longer watching. And lo and behold, the game delivered a second goal. So I ran up. I saw the celebration of it, but I mean, I only watched it about kind of like half an hour or so ago.
Fair enough. Well, it was another great goal.
It was. I particularly enjoy how Will crashes into the net and gets himself stuck in it.
Well, it was in the bar afterwards. Nicky Joyce was in attendance, and Ricky Kidd was there as well, and they were asked quite loudly, "Would you have ever crossed that?" And they both went, "No, not a chance." But Neil, what was your view of that goal? I've got some opinions on it, but what was your view on the glorious cross from Ashley?
I think he was very unselfish, and it was the right thing to do. It's what we haven't. It was one of those crosses that actually went across and actually went where it was meant to go, and it didn't hit a defender. It was well placed, and it was, again, that in other respects that was just as glorious as the first goal, because it just is what we haven't done. We'd finished them off with two quick thrusts.
Two quick goals. I mean, I have to say, Will was getting a few grumbles for not being in the right place a couple of times, not running forward. They were often then sort of shut up with, the guy's knackered. He's played 90 minutes of pretty much every match. He just doesn't come off. He runs around forever. How can he possibly be on his toes all the time? And I'm wondering, did Ashley hear some of those grumbles and just think, right, here you go, mate, have that? But yeah, very unselfish cross, and lovely 2-0.
And Will nearly got a third, didn't he? I think. But though he possibly could have been a bit less selfish on that, and if he'd kind of like passed it, then somebody else might. But he might have just been determined to prove a point.
Yeah, that run beat a couple of players, was very strong again. But again, it's like it went straight to the keeper. It's like, left. And it's one of those. I hate the expression because Andy Townsend used to say it all the time, and I used to get so irritated. If anything, he hit it too good.
Yeah.
If he'd sliced it a little bit or shinned it or something, then the keeper wouldn't have gone, I can track that. But I mean, a great performance from everyone, to be fair. And the
for the second half. I would
Yeah.
say, for the second half. Yeah.
First off, we did what we had to do, and we didn't concede any goals. And
Yeah.
they wanted to score in that goal. Like I said, they're good boys. They wanted to score in the correct goal.
Right. I would prefer them to be scoring kind of like
In the first
scoring
and second
early.
minute.
So
Yeah.
I want to be relaxed because like this season was going to be the season of being able to enjoy the games more. That I wasn't going to be going there expecting to get a whooping, and so now I have found myself in a position where until yesterday afternoon I'd go along expecting to get a whooping because that's what's happened when I'm there.
Yeah. Neil, were you standing next to me at the Walsall game last year?
Yes.
Yeah, we were 4-0 up, and none of one was relaxed.
Yeah,
Everyone was like, "Oh, hang on, something's going to go wrong here. You're going to get a man sent off or something." So we can't relax 2-0.
well,
But defensively,
yeah,
we did really well. Jack Sims again.
Yeah.
Keeps us on our toes, Neil.
Yeah.
But what did you think of his performance overall?
His distribution and he gives confidence. He gives confidence at the back. You don't think he's going to do anything stupid. And he's a shorter goalkeeper, but his positioning is good. That was two good saves from free kicks from Alton. And then he's got his eyes behind the ball. You don't feel he's going to spill anything. So I'm confident. So the 3 clean sheets are as much down to him as the defence in front of them, and they're a good unit. There seems to be an understanding there now.
yes,
Yeah,
which
definitely.
there hadn't been earlier on.
Yeah.
There's definitely something has clicked and all the rest of it. But I'll ask you in a second, Chris, how you feel about Jack. But Neil mentioned his distribution. There was one moment there where he launched the ball out like I thought, "You're not at goals, mate. You can this isn't five-a-side football. You can't just roll it out or bowl it out to someone."
Yeah, there was.
But what do you think of his performance? And as Neil said, over the last couple of games.
Yeah, I think he's been growing in confidence, and I kind of think that it's now, that shirt is now his until unless he gets injured or something. So it's good to have a keeper of Steve's caliber on the bench to be there as a backup. But I think it's going to be Jack from here on in. I mean, there were a couple of occasions where he was going a little bit further up the field than I would like, but I mean, he wasn't being kind of like the midfielder that Bazanis would sometimes be.
Yeah.
So it was fine.
Yeah.
I mean, it would be. I didn't see any of the Solihull game, though. By all accounts, he was up against better opposition than yesterday. So be interested to see how he copes with the Spurs children.
If he plays, might not.
I don't think he'll play.
No,
Steve Arnold will play. I
okay.
virtually guarantee that.
Yeah, I think we'll probably put Steve in.
Yeah.
Okay. There was one other thing to kind of finish this off. Really, we are Harry Ransom's block. I mean, Jack had kind of gone. It made a save. The ball would come back out, and it was going in. Did you guys have a good view of that? No, Neil.
I think so.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it in the game, but I saw it on the on the highlights back.
Definitely threw himself and was just like, "That's not getting past. That's it. Nothing is getting past us today." And that again it's not. We weren't missing it deliberately, but it's that little kind of extra bite, that little extra. No, nothing is getting past us. Is what was missing a couple of weeks ago. But we are up to 7th. Go on.
It is interesting that I think that the uptick in form has coincided with Steve Saville or Steve whatever his coming back. So who's the team psychologist?
Yeah, he does.
Find that really quite interesting.
He does I don't think he likes being called that. But
Okay,
he's a football coach, but
Coach, yeah, but okay.
he does
yeah, with no,
he does a lot with the
Yeah.
learning and the
Yeah.
mind space. But yeah,
Yeah,
he's
the mentality coach. Or
getting
however
people all on the same page. He's
Yeah.
one of his things. I mean, it's a little example where he's got the whole room of people and he puts up this phrase and says he just wants you to count the Fs.
Yes.
The instructions as it comes along. One says in the greeny blue text. One says count the Fs. How many Fs are below? And so everyone's counting Fs, and some people have kind of looked at it and went, "Well, hang on, is the color right? Is
Yeah.
you miss out the ofs and you miss other things." So different people are standing up, and his point is, there's 40, 50 people in this room, and you've all got split opinions. This is why everyone's got to get aligned onto the same page, doing the same thing, because you all see it slightly different to how we see it. Some of it's just so common sense. You're sitting there going, surely everyone knows this, but then you're like, actually, no, I didn't think of that at all myself. So yeah, but he's really good. If you get a chance to watch any, I'm going to try and get him on, but if you get a chance to watch him and anything, he's actually really, really good. His book is great. I'm ploughing through it still. There goes Steve. That's a $5, yeah.
But also because we've got a team that is pretty young, apart from Nathan and Steve. The rest of them are kind of, well, I think most of them are younger than this century. Yeah.
I think there's a few sort of 25, 26-year-olds.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. But
average
still,
is about 23.5 or something like that.
It is definitely it is a young side, and so and so I think it is useful to have somebody who is helping them with their mentality. So yeah, and so I just it is just one thing that I'm just looking at going, yeah, Steve wasn't around as much, so yeah, that might well be helping. And also confidence just breeds, and there had definitely been moments where you could tell it was a team that was still getting to know each other. So yeah.
No,
be interesting to think, would this team beat our team that got to Wembley 3 years ago? No, I don't think it would yet.
No.
But it may do. But it may do. Maybe.
Yeah,
in
that
time.
team possibly would have bullied this team, but if it went into extra time,
yeah,
then you'd wonder whether this team would then be able to outrun them.
Yeah.
There's
the beauty is you can actually find out, because that's definitely in common.
We'll play Dorking.
Yes,
but yes, we are up to 7th. Neil,
yeah.
how were you feeling that we're going to get to 7th or in the playoffs a few weeks ago?
We were, the way the division was, we were never that far off. It was all a run was always going to take us into the playoffs. And I have agreed with you that I think the second half of the season we're going to go on a big run. I don't actually want us to start the run too early, or the players to be too good, just in case any of the League Two teams come sniffing in January. So, in fact, Lewis having been out injured is a bit like the Ben injury. It will probably have put people off a bit. So there may not be as many people sniffing around, because I suspect Lewis might make an appearance on the bench sort of come Christmas, but he's probably not going to get back full fit. It's probably until the end of January, bit like Dylan coming back. So that's my feelings. I think it's timing the run right, and we want to get into the playoffs towards the end of the season as the team in form.
Yeah, exactly.
There were certainly a few people asking for team sheets yesterday. Read of that what you will.
Okay.
Or make it that what you will.
Fair enough. People you knew.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So before we get to the good, the bad, and the funny, we did have a points of view. Points of views. Good one. A question. It was from Nick Graham, who is in the US, and he's just questioning. I've kind of got half an answer, but I was just wondering what you two thought of this. Apart from them using Gander Green Lane for the women's team, do our links with Crystal Palace go any further? Is it in our interest, for example, financially or otherwise, for them to stay in the Premier League? Neil, what's your gut feeling on that one?
I think it probably is important that they stay in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Because that gives them a bigger financial budget, and it's given us a fabulous pitch. Look at the rubbish, the rain, and what we've had, and that pitch looked as good as it did when it was laid. It's absolutely beautiful, and I think it's been used 2 nights back to back. In a couple of weeks' time, so I can see it can take it. So there's obviously it can take a lot of matches, and that's helping us because it should mean less injuries, but it should mean you can play. You can play good football on it.
We want to play, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you reckon? I mean, I know you do some of the ladies' games as well.
I haven't yet.
Oh,
So
okay.
I will be making my my lady debut later on this month, as I'll be helping at the Man United game.
Oh, excellent.
So I mean, I think it's fantastic that we've got like lionesses who will be coming along to that. So yeah, we will have England players at Gander Green Lane, not England C, but England. England. I mean, and that is amazing. So yeah, I think it is really good because it can help bring people. I know there'll be some folks who'll come along to these games who are Palace fans. So I've been helping out some of the Palace men's sort of like under 23 or what have you. So kind of like the Junior Champions League stuff from last year, which was always great fun. I really enjoyed those games because it was, particularly given last season, it was lovely to come along to a match where I didn't really care what the result was and to just enjoy a game of football. And I also had the strange honor of being, because when Athletic Bilbao came, the Bilbao folk their English was not fantastic, so I was having to use my Duolingo Spanish to kind of like convey some of the points that other people were saying to them. I think including the fourth. And I was thinking, how has it come to this? But no, the Palace games have been great. I mean, I assume that we make enough money from it for it to be worthwhile. I think it's also a really good partnership, and I think that the men's under 23 games have been played at Dulwich, I think previously. So I think it's good. It's good to have Palace here, and I think it could just encourage others to give us a try. Dulwich have their hipsters. We may as well have Palace's fans who are being priced out or want something else to do on the week.
The answer I got was basically with their landlords. But yes, there's the thing, the pitch. Obviously, it would be best if they obviously remain in the Premier League because the profile's higher, and then have a potential knock-on effect to raise our profile through the ladies' team, and or potentially help us with if we redo the stadium rights, might help us with some extra figures onto that as well. It is very unlikely to have a link up with players because they tend not to play them at this level, although they have gone to League Two. But if they were to go down, we might then get a player link up because it's a championship club. But
that might well happen.
It's balanced. And then I sort of fed that back to Nick, and he sort of said that tells me what a major coup it was to get Finley, because he was one of the Premier League ones to watch in the academy, and then a few days later we went, we're having him. Enjoyed that. So anyone else got any questions for us to talk through? Get them in. The good, the bad, and the funny. I have been assured that Neil is not going to talk about traffic. Neil, what was good?
Well, where I was standing, people were complaining that the ladies' toilets were all out of action alongside where the TARDIS was. So they were having to go further during the match, which of course run the possibility of having a Chris incident where they were too far away and missed the goal. You see? So having just come back from Northern India, the last thing you should ever do is complain about a toilet over here, because until you've seen the toilets over there, you know never to ever complain about anything toilet related at Sutton.
I don't know. I don't know if they're not working as they should be, and the blokes-ons are.
I think there is a bit of
I think you've got a case there. It's not like the blokes-on are not working and they animals go anywhere.
So my good is, good sanitation. You need to appreciate it, because we take it for granted, and
we do take it for granted. But I would be disappointed if the club went, well, it's not as bad as some places in rural India. Don't worry about it.
Yes.
We want to get the old toilets back up.
Yes.
It wasn't condemned.
Special rural India defence. Yeah.
Chris, what was your good?
My good was Fyle, bless them. After we'd scored our second goal, they had somebody sweeping the away dressing room for dustpan and brush. I thought, oh, bless your cuts and socks. I mean, maybe they made an absolute mess. I mean, I am not allowed into the dressing rooms, so I don't know. But it's not something I've often seen. But it was just like, it reminded me of kind of like the things you hear about, say, Japanese supporters cleaning up the stadium after they've been knocked out of a World Cup or something. And I thought, you're lovely.
Well, their thing was, and it's their I don't know if it still does, but it was their football culture at the time. They all had blue little plastic bags.
Yeah.
Wave to support the team.
Yes.
So that was, instead of scarves, you had these little bags that you waved to support the team. And then they gathered up any rubbish in the bags and threw them away.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's actually awesome, because they're tying the two things together. You're supporting the team, and part of that is take your rubbish with you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure how they all managed to take more rubbish with them than they brought, because it's impossible. But I do like that. Thank you, Chris. Their fans were great as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Segregation was possibly not needed.
Yes. Yes.
What was it? There's differing amounts. There's 21. I counted 15. Someone else counted 17. But a long trip for a team that are struggling. So I never understand why people kind of mock the ones that are there. It's like, it happens to us. It's like, oh, you only brought this many. It's like, I'm one. Well, not me, obviously, but the guys who go, I'm one of the few that have got it. You don't take the piss out of me because I'm the one who done it. So take the piss out of the ones that played at home. But fair play to them. Chris, I forgot where I was. What's your bad?
I think just because it was just so very bitty that first half, and I kind of feel that we might well have been torn apart a bit. That's just my feeling.
Other opponents.
Yeah.
But then I don't want to put up this every time, but were we as bad because they weren't testing us as much? Could we have stepped? I don't know. I'm just saying.
We just weren't able to hold on to possession. But then we were able to, because I think they just decided that they would take ownership, as Steve had said, and but maybe did we do that in the first half? It's not 45 minutes of football; it's 90 minutes or 99.
100, really?
100. Yeah.
Neil, what was your bad?
I've got two bads,
One
is the referee that we've just talked about, because I thought that was ridiculous. And in fact, I was really surprised, Mike, that when you walked across behind the goal when the match was still going on with your yellow card, I'm surprised he didn't book you, because he was booking anything in yellow, and you were obviously interfering with play. So I think you were very lucky that you didn't get a yellow card there.
The speed of me down there.
Because he was going for the set.
What
was your other one?
Dazen. Because unfortunately, as you know, I was in India. I could possibly watch both of the matches that are out there scheduled, because the times fitted. And because I was using an eSIM and the hotel Wi-Fi's was poor, Dazen have got very good anti-VPN software, which they didn't have, and it wouldn't allow. It told me that I was in an area that was not recognised, and it is available in India, but so therefore I wasn't able to watch two. Well, one was cancelled, but I couldn't watch the other two matches while I was away. So that really peed me off, really, because I was looking forward to settling down with a cold beer after my curry and watching a couple of Sutton games, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, it is fun when you're traveling, and even if especially if you're having to do it at an interesting time of night because of where you are. I watched a match that possibly I shouldn't have whilst in Australia. And I did fall asleep, and then had to kind of like find out what the score was. But still, it is good fun to do that. So
Yes.
and makes you kind of feel, wow, we have come on a bit. I can be watching it. Yes.
So sorry, I'm just back to front. Chris, did I ask you you're bad or not?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. So, Neil, it's your funny.
Bittiness.
Yes.
So it's been alluded to, the funny, but if you remember, there's Dylan De Silva went on a mazy run, and ideally he shot, but he should really have passed to Will. So we then had the Will mazy run, and it was absolutely obvious there was no way he was going to pass to Dylan because Dylan hadn't passed to him. So we had the shot. So that to me just struck me as a bit of getting their own on each other. And of course it wasn't critical to the match because we'd already run it, but that really did tickle me. And Jenny was alongside me, and we both sort of commented that was exactly the reasoning behind doing that, because it was a case of that'd teach you. So you can see that next to those two parts, they're going to be finding every opportunity to pass to each other now.
I would imagine
when they should pass.
I'd imagine that John has already clipped all those clips up to say to send to him, going, what the hell was going on here? Chris, what was your funny?
I think my funny was, speaking of John, so after the match, as part of the celebrations, we got John, the coach, whose surname I forget, sort of doing a repeat of his celebrations, kind of like, so just running around, punching the air in a kind of like a 3-2-1 kind of punch thing, and then drawing a ball, all in one kind of like, switching move. But it was lovely. Yeah, strike is a key. It was lovely to see. I would just love there to be more players and other folks there. I know Anthony was there. I know Josh made like a cameo appearance, but I think it was like whilst he was looking for people. I also do appreciate that maybe the era of having our players sinking desperados after the game has gone, and it's probably a good thing that it has. But it would just be kind of nice. But that's
if they were going to do it. Yes,
that would have been a good time. However, I also appreciate that like they are professional players, and it's a bit odd. Some of our kind of our post-match stuff, but and also I know that some of them do tend to hang out a little bit more in the VP.
I've seen that.
So
so I've not done the away fans for the Liverpool match or the Tottenham match. I've forgotten at the start of the call that there was a Tottenham match. So just a little thing. So just anyone listening, the Prediction League isn't going to go for the National League trophy games because people have a distinct lack of interest of them. So you might get an email from me because it's automatic, but I'm not counting them ones. But what do you guys think? I mean, do you have any thoughts, Chris, for the Tottenham match, or not yet?
I have a suspicion we may sneak it, just because sometimes, from experience, from the Pizza Cup, these youth teams don't take it seriously sometimes. However, Spurs might take it a bit more seriously, but then I'd have thought that Chelsea might have. They had John Terry in front of them, and yeah, I can't actually remember what the final score was of that, but I remember it.
1-0, and
1-0.
Yeah, yeah,
they just signed some kid from Italy,
yeah.
and it's like they paid millions and millions and millions for him, and he was toilet.
He was 35 million euros they paid
Yeah.
for him, and then he got sent off, of course,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
2 yellows.
yeah.
Um,
So yeah,
Neil, what do you reckon of the Spurs match? Are you gonna go watch it? I don't even know if it's televised. I've not a clue.
don't
I think it's streamed on something.
Oh, is
Right.
it? Okay.
I think so, but I'm not quite sure why. I think National League Television may still exist for those, but so no, I'm not going to come all that way just for that. But I think again it will be useful, because I think you'll see that those players who haven't had minutes will start,
Yeah.
Mhm.
and I think that will be good. I think you'll see that Jacko will come back in. That will give him a chance of easing back in. Harry Ransom will get some more minutes. Steve Arnold, because he keeps him match sharp, because
Yeah.
we don't know, he could need to come on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. So important for that. So some of the other, we know definitely Jack's got, because Steve said in his post match that Jack was going to be able to be at home and put his feet up on Tuesday.
Okay.
So I think it will be useful. I think that they will value it as very good training exercise, but and bit of tension. If it goes to penalties, you get practice penalties,
Exactly.
and who knows when that might
Yeah, that might come in handy.
become vital.
Yeah.
Before we mention Ipswich, I've just remembered what I wanted to say about Matt Rush going on loan. I haven't looked at Maidenhead's fixtures, but it could help us out, obviously, him being on loan there. So you never know. But Neil, what do you think of the Ipswich match, which we're going to be taking a little bit more seriously?
Well, I've said we need a trophy run, so perhaps this is the time to get to Wembley and win, and not do a Solihull and lose both the trophy and the playoff.
Come on.
But again, Ipswich, it could be, we did, it was nearly a banana skin the last time. So again, it wouldn't surprise me. Are there replays, or does it go to penalties? I don't even know what the trophy rules
Not a
are.
clue.
It just depends.
Not a
This-
clue.
Yeah, I would imagine, given all of the stuff about fixture congestion, despite the existence of this Premier League thing, then yeah, I think it does go to pens. But
All right. Go on,
Yeah.
Neil, give us a score line for that one. Early prediction, obviously, you can.
Think about it. I think it might actually be a draw, and it might go to penalties, or it might go to extra time.
Okay. Chris, what do you think of the game and an idea of a score?
yeah, I think we might win it. Just I mean, we are more confident than we were against Ipswich last time, by all accounts. And that was a match that I was in the bar afterwards. I wasn't at any of the game, so I don't count that as a win because I didn't see us win. But yeah, I have this. Yeah, I think maybe we might. It'd be nice to get the run continuing. So yeah. But as Neil said, yeah, it has potential banana skin written all over it. But then again, so did yesterday, and I left the house convinced it was going to be yet another banana skin.
Okay. Well, I'm going to put mine out there, and I'm going to go with another 2-0 win.
Cool.
Just because I want a 1-0, 1-0, 2-0, 2-0, 3-0, 3-0, 4-0, 4-0.
It'd be nice to see Louis again. Assuming he will be, or is he not going?
I don't know. He hasn't featured, but again, it might be that he's featuring in that. But yeah, he hasn't featured for a little while. And
Okay.
Will, who went there, is on loan at Dorking.
All right. Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
who knows?
Who knows?
But anyway, we've rattled on enough. Sorry, I've kept you guys long enough. So we're wrapping up the episode of Sutton Podcast. Give us your feedback. I appreciate your attention, obviously. Do get involved in the Knowing Me, Knowing You segment. What is your favourite kit from which season and why? Follow, like, share this episode. Make your friends suffer. Tag me in it at Sutton Podcast on all social medias. Don't forget to subscribe and stay up to date. Give me the thumbs up. I love them thumbs up. We will be back. I didn't write down who's doing it next week. Hang on a second. So we're going to be back next week after the Ipswich game with Claire and Joe. who I've only just told today. So hopefully they're going to go, yes, I can do that one.
Excellent.
And thank you to Lucky Star Gin, our sponsors as always, and thank you to our panel of Chris and Neil, who's now collecting his Sainsbury's, I think. And thank you to everyone who's listening. Take care. Goodbye.
United! 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 United!